हाँ, गुड इवनिंग। उधर बैठा है, ठीक है। हेलो एवरीवन।
गुड इवनिंग।
गुड इवनिंग।
हाँ, गुड इवनिंग।
पांडे जी इसको चेकअप मत कीजिए। पांडे जी, पांडे जी, पांडे जी इसको जरा धो दीजिए।
Good evening, sir.
Hello, Dr. Devra.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Namaskar.
Good
And
evening.
I'm so
Good evening, sir.
happy
Yes.
brilliant faculty,
So,
Amitabh Tripathi, and I see Dr. Abul Amir Khan, so Dr. Subhash Tiwan,
Tiwari.
and I also see
Good evening, sir.
Boyar Priyanka and Dr. Prabhu Prasad Das.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, good evening. And
So,
I'm so happy to see you late in the evening. And I hope you and your family are safe and everybody is okay at home. First, I want to compliment all of you and congratulate you for this great accomplishment at Amity University, Haryana. And I like to know more about it. That's why I requested for a meeting. So, Dr. Devra,
yes,
introduce
sir.
your people first. What are they
Yes, sir.
doing?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir. From the,
yeah, please go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, Dr. Abul Amir Khan from the sequence I'm talking, and then Miss Priyanka Boyer, and then Amitabh Tripathi, and Dr. Prabhu Das, and Mr. Subhash Tiwari, and then Dr. Amrit Kumar. I think he will be somewhere. Amrit Kumar. And then two research scholars also I'm searching, sir. We have two research scholars, Neenu Yadav and Kalpana Garsa. And
Right.
yeah, they are there. And then these are the total, including me, 9 people, sir, in our EcoST group.
Very good.
Center for Ocean Atmosphere Science and Technology. And as you know very well, we have added MT Center for Environmental Science and Health also in 2015. So now we are working for both the centers of excellence. So, sir, actually, I wanted to, we are very happy and then we are very fortunate rather to have you this evening with us because of your valuable time. And then, of course, everybody knows about you, and still it is my duty to tell you about. Dr. W. Shalvamurthy is one of the pioneers, not only in science and then management also. And then he is the president of our STF, MIT Science, Technology and Innovation Foundation. Actually, I should say that innovation started with him in MIT University. So I am very grateful to him to spare his valuable time with us this evening. And at this context, I also would like to thank our founder president and our chancellor and vice chancellor and our deputy vice chancellor and pro vice chancellor and all our authorities of MIT University Haryana, because they are all constantly encouraging and supporting our EcoST and SS. So with this small introduction, because this is I should say that inter-MIT meeting. So there are no outsiders as well. So we have MIT universe. We belong to MIT universe, and then with this introduction, actually, I thought of talking about the paper which we have published very recently, just day before yesterday only. It came into the press printing, and then actually I simultaneously later on I thought I will definitely talk about that paper, whatever we have been measuring and we have published already. But that is unique paper in the sense that that consists of 10 years data. 10 years data of this type of instrument is not a simple task, but of course we all have lot of efforts we have put. And more than that, similar type of activity at MIT University Haryana we are doing now. I am also giving my talk some emphasis on that what actually the instrument we are using here and what it does and what are the important parameters it is giving, because in India this sun sky radiometers, particularly the NASA Aeronet, there are only 3 stations available right now. Only 2 stations are operating. So one is at IITM, that is the one of the oldest Aeronet site, and the another one is there IIT Kanpur, and the third one is our AUH. So that way, working instrument.
Devra, what is the actual function, the purpose of this NASA Aeronet?
Sir, I have few slides probably.
Okay.
While talking about those slides,
Sure, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is actually what I am thinking of. So this is actually, it gives more than about more than 12 parameters, sir. Some of them are direct sun measurement products, and some of them are from solar radiation and angular variation of scattering intensity we derive. This is my.
Now we can see that. We can see the slide.
Yeah.
But you
Yes, sir,
tell us.
Actually, here we have 3 different types of laboratories at MIT University, Haryana, and one is the climate research, and then solar radiometry laboratory, and air quality monitoring and diagnosis laboratory. These are the things. But in this talk, actually, I will be talking more and more about the NASA AirNet, that which we operate under the solar radiometry laboratory.
What is that polar nephelometer?
Nephelometer. Actually, sir, there are 2 types of nephelometers. One is conventional one, where we measure the atmospheric extinction. That is the summation of scattering and absorption. That we measure it only at one wavelength. 3 wavelengths, but at one scattering angle. But here in polar nephelometer, we get the extinction at a different scattering angles. So thereby, we get the total extinction coefficient, backscatter extinction, and forward scattering extinction. Thereby, we compute the horizontal visibility and then asymmetry parameter, which are having a lot of important role in Earth atmosphere radiation balance parameter computation, and thereby the climate.
What about the this ethylometer?
Ethylometer is black carbon concentration. Actually, what we are using is next generation ethylometer. This is advanced type. Actually, earlier ethylometers, they used to give only black carbon or elemental carbon concentration, mass concentration. But this ethylometer gives black carbon concentration plus biomass burning also. This is very, very useful equipment which we have used for this COVID-19, and also we are using this instrument in combination with NASA AirNet for our parali activity, crop residue burning activity, because it has the biomass burning capability measurement also. So these are all world-class equipments. They are very useful for not only for pollution but also for climate ultimately.
So you have collected 10-year data in a longitudinal way, and that is what has gone into this publication. Is that right?
Yes,
NASA
yes.
AirNet.
Why this slide is not moving?
No, you just click the mouse, or you go to the arrow and click. Arrow.
Now it is there, sir.
No, it is static. It's not moving. No, you have only one slide. One of one is showing.
One of one, sir. And then the second one is this.
No, but we are not able to see.
Oh.
Just press, click like your mouse, click. Or you restart, reshare, start sharing again.
Now it is moving. Are you able to see my second slide?
No. It is just stay there at state-of-the-art laboratory support.
This is my first slide, sir. Shubhans.
Devra sir, this is there. It is showing one of one. It means there is only one slide. So please check. You have prepared some other presentation. So I think
no.
not.
No. With the mouse, I am able to slide this, change the slides here. But while showing.
No, what I say, you stop sharing and then start sharing again. First stop and then start sharing.
Sir, second slide is seen?
No.
No, sir. No.
First you do, what you do is you stop sharing,
yes,
then
sir.
open that file again and then start sharing.
Stop sharing and then, yes, sir.
Okay, now you start sharing again.
No. Presentation. Presentation is here. Here is the presentation.
It's not selected here.
No, here it is not there. Then this one. Yeah, this one. Sir, now it is seen.
Ah, yes, I can
Yes,
see
sir.
now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
And show it in slideshow.
Yeah, so let's show, sir.
F5,
Then
just press F5.
F5, yeah, no, this is a cup or F5. This is enlarged version, sir.
Ah, now you go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is actually, I wanted to emphasize, give emphasis to this NASA Aeronet global observations of aerosol pollution and climate. Actually, sir, these aerosols, according to aerosol community, they were very much important for Earth atmosphere radiation balance and climate studies. But nowadays, in air pollution committee, these aerosols are also pollutants because they are also just like pollutant particles. So earlier, the so-called aerosols are nothing but the so-called pollutants. So nowadays the literature says that aerosol pollution are aerosol pollutants. They are one and same because the size distribution one and same for the pollutants as well as for the aerosols. This is only question of the nomenclature. So now I will be talking about the MIT Center for Ocean Atmosphere Coast and then SH, MIT Center for Environmental Science and Health, because in recent years we are giving more and more emphasis on all these equipment, whatever I had shown, those equipment we are using it for how to utilize this equipment not only for pollution and their impact on human health. And then, in fact, one of the major projects we have submitted under Indo-US, that of course, if time permits, I will come at the end. So these are all the 3 laboratories what we have
No,
developed.
this you have shown. You can move. This you have shown.
Then actually regarding the sun sky radiometers, there are 2 types of global networks. One is NASA Aeronet, the other one is Japanese Skynet. Both are having networks, but the NASA Aeronet is having almost more than 450 Aeronet stations all over the world. And then in charge is Brent Holborn. And then here there are slight difference between these 2 networks. One is the NASA Aeronet. We have India Aeronet, and similarly for Skynet also we have India Skynet. When I was at IITM, I was operating both side by side. So I have studied both the complementary properties of both the Skynet as well as Aeronet. And then data analysis, here actually there is a lot of difference between these 2 networks. In the case of NASA Aeronet, they don't allow. We have to submit the data, they will analyze centrally the data analysis. But whereas Skynet, they will freely analyze by every user, because the idea of Aeronet, NASA Aeronet is to make the analysis uniform all over the globe. Otherwise, there are dissimilarities in presenting the data results. So that care has been taken by Aeronet NASA. So there, the algorithm improvement, time to time they improve the algorithm. That is commonly, centrally they are improving the algorithms. Thereby, the analysis techniques have gone to far improved versions. So then another thing is with and without cloud screening. But this is one of the major problems with radiometers or sun photometers or sky radiometers. This cloud screening, whenever clouds are there, instead of we are getting the single scattering, multiple scattering phenomena works. So we will get enormous amount of scattered intensity. That's what we call irradiance. That's what we are getting from the sun. Basically, because these are all passive remote sensing, we are using sun as the source, and also we use star as the source, and also we use lunar radiometry. Moon also we use sometimes with as the passive remote sensing techniques. This is another because this Skynet radiometers, this cloud screening algorithm is not yet improved. So this is under improvement. So these are all the comparison between direct solar and inversion products are available with NASA Aeronet. They are also available with Skynet. So these are the two types of global networks, and of course the Skynet have almost about 50 to 60
Okay,
global sites.
Davda, you have to move a little fast, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the global network.
Just bring the essentials of it.
Yes, sir. This is the global network of almost about more than 450 sites are there. Yeah, distributed over 50 countries and 7 continents. So
Yeah, understood. Next slide.
next one here you can see the our over India, because during the major experiment Indo-X, Indian Ocean experiment, which was conducted in 1890, that time actually some additional skyradiometers were installed, NASA Aeronet, and then now presently only 3 Aeronets are working in India, and of course they are the radiometers.
In this Aeronet, do they supply the sensors and then connectivity they provide, or what is the kind of support they provide for equipment, connectivity and all?
Both ways are there, sir. Some people they purchase, but unless the station is geographically important, they will not include in the network. They can operate on their own, but they will not consider the data. So there is a software called STEP Win. That is the basic software which is available freely on the website. So those who are not involved in the Aeronet network, they use that software and then get the aerosol optical depth and all.
And our Amity University Haryana is formally a member of this NASA
Yes, sir.
Aeronet.
Yes, sir. Actually, I am PI of the Sunsky Aeronet station at Pune, IITM, also at TMT University, Gurgaon.
Right. And how you interact with this group? Do you have a mechanism to meet with consortium members from various countries?
Yes,
is
sir.
there
Actually, main criteria what they follow in installing this is geographical importance of the station.
Yeah, no, I understood. But do you have a mechanism for meeting, discussing together your data?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, we have the large group consortium, and then for Aeronet, NASA Aeronet, whenever there is an improvement or development in the algorithm, every formed. Everybody has to, that time to time communication is always there within the consortium members of this NASA.
Next slide.
These are all the Skynet network. And over India, in our country, actually we have about 12 locations. Actually, we are going to get one Skynet also at our MT University, Gurgaon, Haryana. Actually, because of this COVID, there is a delay. Otherwise, I wanted to operate here Skynet as well as Aeronet, both side by side. There are advantages. So I have already, we have published papers, and then in Pune, actually I am operating side by side both.
Right.
So,
and your center in Haryana, that does it cover, how much is the coverage? Does it give the northern region or the whole of country? So what is the coverage you give to this network?
Coverage is about 500 kilometers, sir. But you see, it is global. Yeah. But it is a network station. These networks are mainly developed for calibration of NASA satellites. This is ground truth. They work as a ground truth. So all this network station data, ultimately they use for calibration or validation of the satellite data. Moody's, particularly Moody's, OMI, they are the satellites. What they
okay,
are.
Next slide.
And then actually, eventually, at all these Indian Skynet stations, we are going to develop the LiDARs also, portable LiDARs also at each station. And also at each station, we are going to accomplish with black carbon ethylrometers. So this is our future plan for.
Who will give this aerosol LiDAR?
This is IMD. This is IMD. Custody is under IMD. And then Aeronet individual stations. Stations.
So IMD will give you this sensor, aerosol LiDAR.
This Skynet. They wanted to install one unit at our MT University, Haryana. So because of this COVID, it is getting delayed, sir. So
okay, next.
Once they install here, we will have both Aeronet as well as Skynet.
Right. Next slide.
This is our whatever we have installed at our university. This is NASA Aeronet Aerosol Robotic Network global site. at event. These are the products what we get from this unique instrument. It gives almost about a dozen parameters like multispectral aerosol optical depth. Optical depth is nothing but the extinction, atmospheric extinction. Because of aerosol particles, when they are present in the atmosphere, how much is the solar radiation when you receive at the ground is extinction, attenuation is occurring. That is what actually aerosol optical depth. The basic parameter is columnar. These instruments will give column integrated values. It is not a surface value or vertical profile. Columnar integrated value it gives. And then the aerosol optical depth at almost about 8 wavelengths it will give. 5 to 8 wavelengths it will give. Different wavelengths will this extinction coefficient or optical depth will give us the size distribution, coarse mode, fine mode particle, and water vapor. So
Hello,
aerosol.
Singh, I think Mr. Yasan Singh, sir.
Pardon?
Is Mr. Yasan Singh there?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
And who
So
are the other
this-
people from ISTIF are there?
Sneha is there and Devender is there, sir.
Okay. Okay, now somebody can take note because I want to send a note to founder president C6 and also the VC of AUH about this interaction, and also attach this presentation also along with the report. So let us prepare a report at the end. Okay, go ahead.
So the another important parameter is
And
aerosol.
you can quickly move because we have to get only the essentials.
So actually, this is a simple video clip I have put, but of course in between, so that you can see the Almukantar and then plane position.
Right.
Principal plane position. Actually, it moves at the single zenith angle. It will do the azimuth elevation, azimuth rotation, so that you will get the Almukantar scan. You will get this Almukantar scan. Not only sun's radiation, it monitors the aureole. This is sky measurement also it does. That's where it is called sun sky radiometer. It is not simply sky radiometer, solar radiometer, sun sky. So this way, this is Almukantar. The other position, it gives the vertical scan also. That's what actually principal plane measurement. So this way, this measurement it does for every 15 minutes. For every 5 minutes, it measures the optical depth measurement. So this, sorry, it takes a little time, but I will. So once it enters into the principal plane position, that's what we call the another scan measurement, aureole measurement. So
okay, understood. You can move to the next one.
So these are all just yesterday and day before yesterday. Just to demonstrate here, I have taken the instrument at our AUH. Actually, this is aerosol optical depth. You can see at a different wavelengths, and then this is aerosol optical depth yesterday. This is day before yesterday. So because this instrument gives reliable measurements only during the clear sky conditions. So if cloudy sky condition is there, then it gives the multiple scattering, thereby the values
okay, next you can move to the next slide.
And then here, actually here, this is side distribution. This is side distribution retrieval, sir. This is actually day before yesterday, and then this is yesterday's side distribution. Normally, by looking at the side distribution, you can identify whether the anthropogenic activity is dominating on a particular day or natural activity is dominating. This,
no, what does these peaks measure actually?
That's
what does it indicate?
This is bimodal distribution. This is bimodal distribution. This is the primary mode gives always about the anthropogenic activity. So on this day, natural activity is dominating. This is secondary peak is more compared to the primary peak. So this peak gives the natural activity. So during dust storms and all, we get a very large peak, secondary peak. When the anthropogenic activity, say for example, yesterday's picture, if you see the side distribution, this peak is more. So almost they are competing each other. So anthropogenic activity and natural activity, they are almost similar. And then another parameter you can appreciate here, this is single scattering albedo. Single scattering albedo is nothing but the summation of scattering and absorption, scattering by summation of scattering and absorption. This gives very important parameter for computing for telling whether the aerosols in a particular, in the sensing area, whether they are scattering type or absorbing type. If the absorbing type of aerosols are more, you will get warming, local warming. If the scattering type of aerosols are more, you will get the cooling. So indirectly, these measurements gives the information about the global warming, and by summation of all these things, it will give the cooling. And then another thing is asymmetry parameter. This is another, from the scattering angle distribution, we compute this. This also gives the radiative properties.
Okay, next.
And then these are the highlights. Actually, what we have applied using this data. In fact, we have observed during the thunderstorm, dust storm conditions, sandstorm conditions, high aerosol opticals, what we have measured with this Aeronet, and also monomodal volume side distribution. That means the anthropogenic activity, sometimes, many times it is more, but when dust storm activity is there, then we get the natural activity dominates, then thereby the secondary peak dominates. And then
Dr. Devra, has any time NASA team has visited your facility and seen?
NASA team online every day they visit, sir, because they will immediately comment next day, your side distribution is not up to the day, up to the mark. You have to adjust this, you have to adjust that. Accordingly, we will do that, sir. Online interaction is there on day scale, not even week or month. So every day they monitor, sir.
Right.
And then
you can move to the next one. I have read this.
And then this is actually what we are thinking of doing immediately, our NASA Aeronet equipment here. See, in fact, we wanted to study the optical, physico, chemical and radiative characteristics, because direct sun measurements will give us the physico-chemical measurements, parameters, all water vapor, and then aerosol optical depth, side distribution, asymmetry parameter, and then single scattering albedo, and then refractive index of aerosol. That is very critical parameters. Refractive index actually it is a complex quantity, and then it has the scattering as well as the absorption, positive and negative quantity, real and imaginary quantities. So by calculating the refractive index, directly we will get in an ensemble of aerosol particles, how much percentage is scattering type, how much is hygrophobic, how much is hygroscopic. So immediately you can tell that. And then if hygroscopic particles are there, they ultimately lead to the cloud formation. So we get the rain. So we once the rain occurs, we do the rain scavenging phenomenon, and all we measure, we monitor. And air quality monitoring and diagnosis.
Have they sanctioned any project? Did you get any project sanction for this particular scheme? Any research project, any funding agency has sanctioned project for you?
No, so far actually this is actually we are doing two types of projects, sir. One is what you call scientific collaborative projects on the equipment what they have, collaborative projects, and then another one is funded research projects. Collaborative. This we are operating under the collaborative research projects.
No. Also, do you have any joint publications with NASA?
Yes, sir. In fact, the one what we got day before yesterday, you might have seen two Jains.
Right.
They are the key persons from NASA Aeronet.
Okay.
David and then Holban. Holban is the entire in charge, sir, for the global Aeronet.
You talk about that paper. What did you find in that paper, which is published?
So there actually we have found main thing is the aerosol optical depths are showing the monotonic increasing trend. So increasing trend is mainly due to increase in urbanization, because industrial activity is going up, and then construction demolition activities are also going, and then industrial activities. In addition to that, this is our urban aerosol. And then that paper, actually the observations are from Pune. Pune have different type of environment. There we have urban aerosol as well as coastal aerosols also we have, because monsoon time actually we get the air mass from Arabian Sea. So the interaction between coastal as well as the urban, both also we see during the monsoon season, whereas here we see most of the time urban aerosol. But of course, due to long range transport, at times we see from airflow from oceans also, because from the trajectory analysis we found sometimes we get the air mass traveling all the way long range to Gurgaon, to our place, and then they interact the urban aerosol. Actually our station is not urban aerosol, this is a rural aerosol. But nowadays what I am seeing, it is small urban, because rural aerosol slowly it is not urban aerosol here, it is urban environment, it is still rural environment, but NCR is urban. So we have the opportunity to compare always urban versus rural. But
Okay,
we are seeing
next, Devra.
And then this is high split. Actually this we are using to see the long range transport, because local activity plus long range activity also we see whenever some events are occurred with our systems.
Okay, now let me, you introduce your people, what they are doing.
Yes sir, yes sir. Then
I
of
want
course
to hear from them. I want to hear from your colleagues. And so we can start with Priyanka.
Yes sir.
Sir. Hello. Good evening, sir. I'm Priyanka. I'm a MTech student at ACOST. So I'm right now in my second year, and from next semester I will start my project. We have not decided that project. From next year we will start that project.
Very good. Very best wishes, Amitabh.
Thank you.
Dr. Amitabh.
Amitabh.
Yes, sir.
So what are you doing in this group? What is your specific role in these activities?
Actually, sir, during the whole lockdown, I was operating the microtops. That is the ozonometer and sun photometer. And the data is for previous 1.5 year around. So for that period, I am working for the ozone variation, water vapor variation, and aerosols optical depth measured from the sun photometer. And previously, I was at Amity Jaipur and working in a project with Professor PVS Raju.
Right.
So some work is also under preparation, like heat conditions over throughout India for the 3 years, 2016, 17, and 18. And on that line, we are planning to submit a project also, where we will study the change in the heat conditions, past, present, and future up to 2100 years. So what will be the future scenario in the heat-prone areas? Which heat-prone areas are going to further intensify?
How do you give the projection? No, how do you give the projection in the next 100 years? It is going to be like this. So what is that, based on which data or trajectories are shown? Projection for next 100 years will be, or 200 years will be in this direction. How do you do that? Is it computational part, looking at the trend of change?
Yes, sir, this is computational part. Actually, in Jaipur, there is a high performance computer, so high computing is required. And there are models, that is REGCM 4.5, regional climate model. So that has been calibrated, and now I was there, so I worked with that. And now in this collaboration, he will be simulating the data from there, and we will be working together. And remotely, I can access that system. So this is the simulation of the future
stop
data.
sharing. You can just close the slide and stop sharing.
Yes, sir.
Stop sharing. No. just you close that. Go to the next icon on the right side. Int is there, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Class. Go to that and then stop sharing. There is a button there, sharing, so that I can see their faces
Yes, yes.
better. Are you in the office or you are at home?
Who, sir? I'm in the office, sir. I'm in the office.
Okay. So you just close that. No, you go to the
Cross
right.
But you are, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
Now you
Right.
can see everybody. So in
Right.
fact, Dr. Amitabh, actually what you asked, just can I add one or two sentences to that?
Please, briefly.
So
Yes.
the prediction what you are talking about, that is not only over land. Actually, that is a air-sea interaction. Actually, one has to consider, and then the main parameter which goes in the prediction, the primary parameter is temperature. Temperature over land as well as over ocean. Sea surface temperature over land ambient temperature. Both will go long series of data, and then we use the forecast model to predict the forecast. 3 to 5 days forecast is the only possible.
And now let me hear Abdul.
And we have submitted a proposal, sir, with AUR and AUH combined.
How many
proposal.
projects currently you are running, sponsored project, besides this collaborative NASA project?
Yes.
Any other sponsored, funded project you have?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have 3 more projects. One is sponsored project. One is with Ecotech Private Limited, Australia. So with them only I'm operating this polar nephelometer. Nephelometer. That is one of the novel technique which indirectly gives the information about aerosol pollution. We are inverting the nephelometer data to air pollution data. So because they are so then third one is another important sponsored project is air monitoring that with IITM. AQMS, air quality and diagnosis monitoring station, which you have installed at our institute. That gives almost about 12 or 16 parameters.
Right. Now I will.
In addition to this collaborative research projects, very recently we have submitted the funded research projects also. About 5 projects we have submitted, but we are waiting for the result. They are active review stage, and then once we get, then we will get the other products also.
Dr. Abdul Khan. So can you just tell us what what exactly your contribution in this? No, you unmute your mic. Your mic is muted.
Mic, you mute.
Mr. Amir Khan.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. Yes. So, sir, actually, my PhD was on the isotopic study of glaciers and hydrology, basically. So, in that, I have estimated the glacier melt fraction in a river, particularly in the Upper Ganga River, that includes Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. I have estimated the glacier melt fraction in Upper Ganga region by using oxygen isotopes and electrical conductivity. I use these two proxies. You can say they have distinct isotopic signature. For example, you can find, for example, water flowing in a river is a mixture of possible 3 components: groundwater, rainfall, and glacier ice. So these 3 end members have different isotopic signature as well as electrical conductivity parameters. So by using that was my PhD work. I have done that. So basically, I worked on some Himalayan glaciers like Hamta Glacier, Gangotri Glaciers, Bhagirathi Khadak Glacier, and in Ladakh also. So that is why during my PhD, I have realized there is some issue, there is some problem in understanding the isotopic behavior of particularly rainfall. So recently, I was involved with IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, Vienna, in which we are sampling. I have done 5 minutes of 10 minutes each rainfall samples I have collected during 1 year whole period from 1st April 2018 to 1st April 2019. So I am working on that work. We have found very interesting results. Even the isotopic value of rainfall is behaving very differently. We found that the role of cloud type, for example, convective cloud, stratiform cloud, they have different isotopic signature. So that is relatively a new field. Some work has been done so far. So I have worked
Hello.
Okay.
In fact, Dr. Khan is showing interest on polar science. Actually, we are about to submit the Arctic, one of the projects, to have the observation, because I have already involved in when I was at ATM in both Arctic as well as Antarctic, and then 2 book chapters are coming out from MOES now. And then he is also having the interest in polar science.
How many papers your group could publish during this year 2020 with all
2020, almost about more than 30 papers, sir. Published.
Okay.
It's not published. Some of them are published, particularly on COVID. We have published one paper, very good paper on COVID. And then 2-3 on different, even Dr. Das also has published 2-3 papers. But most of them are under review, sir. Almost
No,
about 20.
How many are published? You tell me, communicated, forget about it. How many actually are published in this last 8 months?
2020, almost about less than 10 papers. Less than 10 papers. So we are 5 faculty members total, and then less than 10 papers we have published.
Okay. Okay. Now, Mr. Amit.
Yes.
What are you doing, Amit?
Yeah, good evening, sir. Yeah, I'm Amrit. So basically, sir, I am working on the air pollution exposure on human health. I have worked on Delhi NCR along the transport corridors. Basically, I have done in vehicular emission how the peoples were exposed along the transport corridors. So I have estimated.
So what do you measure? What do you measure? Is the epidemiological studies you do, or you actually have the survey done there?
Yeah, sir, I have used the WHO World Health Organization have one tools, techniques they have used for the risk assessment. If the concentration is beyond the threshold limit, how many people were exposed related to the respiratory problems, how many people goes to the health center for the breathing problems. So I have done this type of the activity with the tools, and I also have survey along the transport corridors. And I have also studied in the commuter exposure. The people are traveling in one day, so how they accumulate and how they will be exposed to the human health. So I am basically working on the health aspect of the air pollution in our one area. So we have submitted 2 projects related to the commuter exposure due to the vehicular pollution, how the peoples were exposed.
So what did you find? Is it the respiratory problems and others?
Yeah, problems I have, sir, found that in Delhi NCR, the central and South Delhi and East Delhi has a very large number of people were expected due to the respiratory mortality and morbidity both. And Northwest Delhi has very less exposed due to the pollution, and the Central Delhi and East Delhi and South Delhi, they are mostly affected by these problems of the health due to the air pollution.
Can you also see bronchitis, asthma, and those type of the problem, or COPD, chronic obstructive?
Yes, COPD risk related to the, we have like how much people will be affected due to this problem of respiratory problem, COPD. The mortality and morbidity we can estimate with the models. So number of people will be affected.
Very good. Dr. Prabhu, what are you doing, Prabhu?
Good evening, sir. My expertise is in geoinformatics. I use remote sensing and GIS, and I'm working on the saltwater intrusion in coastal areas, and also the shoreline change due to tsunamis and cyclonic catastrophes. So specifically, I am looking at the Himalayan tectonics, the earthquakes and the disturbances which is happening at the Himalayan region, and how that is actually affecting far away in the eastern coast of India. So that is this is a very new area because groundwater being affected by Himalayan tectonics is probably for the first time anybody is working on that. So I am into that. I have published, it's a just recently, this January, actually, I published a good paper. Actually, it was an impact factor of 4.2 plus. It is, the journal is like 10th ranking in the world in
Right.
geosciences.
And Prabhu, how is
Yes,
it
sir.
that the Himalayas are in the northern part
Yes,
and
sir.
our southern peninsula and the oceans are in the southern part?
Yes,
So
sir.
the tectonic movements under the ground can go up to ocean, is it, to cause the tsunami and others?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, definitely. That actually, because Himalayan is the active part. I mean, in geology we call it as plates, because
Mm.
Indian plate is merging with the Eurasian plate. That's
Right.
why the sea was there, and that is now gone, and the sediments have become the Switzer Mountain. It's the biggest mountain in the world. So because of this compression, there are actually weak spots. We call that as faults, where the earth moves, the plate moves. So that actually affects the minor faults which are there beneath the ocean, offshore region, as well as in the continents. So that my study shows that earthquakes are happening, and there is a specific trend that follow the faults. So from that we can say that those faults, like in Andhra, like in Odisha, those faults are getting reactivated due to this region, because this is in a continental scale. So once they get reactivated, then the whole overburden of the sediments, they get affected, and that affects the saline water intrusion. Seawater enters the fresh water within the continent, because one algorithm is there where it says that if the groundwater, fresh groundwater goes down by 1 meter, the seawater moves by 40 meter upsides. So that
Oh.
is called as the Guyven-Herzberg principle.
Huh.
So if we are exploiting the water more, so just 1 meter drop down in the groundwater table, it will move the salt water by 40 meters up. So there will be huge saline water intrusion. And
Right.
this is a severe problem in my area actually. I belong to the coastal Odisha. So we have plentiful water. I mean, everywhere there is water, but we can't use it. That's hazardous actually. They're very brackish, and that's why exactly there
And
is a lot of
also,
water. Yes,
today's
sir.
newspaper, they have mentioned that a major earthquake might occur in our lifetime. That means in the next 20, 30 years,
Yes.
a very major earthquake above 8 Richter scale. So that kind of intensity, more than 8. This is what is predicted.
Sir,
Okay.
it is bound to happen, sir. It will happen definitely. One day or
Right.
another, it is going to happen. Yeah.
Okay. Tiwari, Shubhansh Tiwari.
Subhansh Tiwari.
Good evening, sir. I am actually working on the dust storms and crop residue burning. That recently in lockdown period, everyone is saying that there is a reduction in uh, atmospheric pollution parameters. Yes, it is correct, but we have observed the one drawback also of the lockdown, that farmers didn't transport their crop residue to the other place where they can be utilized as other for other things. So what they have burnt all the crop residue in the fields. Usually the crop residue used to burn in this winter time, but not in the summer time. But this time in summer time also, it was observed that they have burned the crops in the field.
So now that you have detected by the carbon soot which you measure with here, is it?
Yes,
Sir,
actually,
that also we have detected, and plus we have did that satellite observations also.
Okay.
And
Very nice.
the satellite observation also certified by ISRO.
Right. Dr. Devra, how many
yes.
PhD scholars you have?
PhD scholars, they are right now not available, sir.
No,
I'm
no.
not
How
able to
many
see.
are with
But
you?
two are
With
there.
you?
Two are there. Two,
Two
two,
are.
two are there. And then, yeah, actually, including the proceedings and all, of course, we have published almost 30 papers so far in 2020. What I told is only journals, referred journals.
Generals is very important.
Uh,
Okay, very nice. Nice talking to you. I am
Sir,
so
actually,
happy.
we have been that way spectrum of areas we are covering in our group. But only thing is my emphasis all the time to my colleagues is that, okay, even if it is indirect, but ultimately they should culminate into the application of pollution and then human health. See, they are all related ancillary subjects, but in addition to the direct emphasis, indirect effect in emphasis also should be given, so that the applicability value of application value of these areas will stay definitely go up. Because in the recent proposal what we have submitted just a few days back, Indo-ES proposal, our main emphasis was on the human health. So actually what you talked about COPD, bronchitis, lung cancer, actually that is unique proposal in the sense that you are well aware. You see, we have been talking many papers we have seen in the literature, only the experimental work from pollution side. When you come to the health side, there are all libraries they use and then produce the health curve or concentration curve.
Got it. Okay,
But
Devra.
here,
Right. I got what you want to say, and thank you so much. And now my message to all of you.
yes, sir.
See, the first thing is I want you people to do now. You have established a good group. You have established experimental facility. Now do something unique from those facilities, because I want this laboratory should be globally known. So I want some disruptive research outcome coming from a new model, a new prediction, and it should be, nobody has thought of. So Devra and his group has thought of, and Amity University Haryana has given this Devra's model. Devra's model. Like this, I want Priyanka's model, Amitabh's model. So like that, you start dreaming. Why only those guys should take the, we mentioned about that American model, NASA model. We want Indian model. Yes. So I want you people to think, what is that unique thing which will take you to that level of leadership in this? So doing projects, doing publication patents, this will continue, this is incremental. But what Amity wants is something which will cause the leadership, take you to the leadership role in this particular domain. Is the climate change something new concept you bring, a new tool you develop, a new model you develop? So that should be quoted. Otherwise, we are only quoting American model, Japanese model, and this model. Why not Indian model? So now we have come to that stage that we should be known, India should be known, you people should be known in your area as the leaders. So now you strategize that having developed this capability, what is that you need to do if that role has to be assumed for India and for Amity? Okay, so I would request all of you to think in that direction. You have the potential.
Definitely we move in that direction. In fact, regarding the models, we have already initiated the air pollution forecast model, but we are doing in collaboration with IITM vision model, early warning system. Early warning system, we have already outputs are available, model outputs are available. Now we are in the process of validating with our real time.
Right, like that Das was telling, that he is giving a new concept how the Himalayan tectonic movement is going to cause tsunami. So like that, some disruptive thought. Keep on thinking. We never think. We always work at data level, information level. If you start thinking, keep on ruminating an idea, why it's happening, why it's not happening. We never think like this in any area. That's the problem with Indians is, okay, American did this, Japanese did this, so I will do a little addition, modification, alteration, confirmation, or just not confirmation. This is what we keep doing, because we never think differently. You think differently, then you become a leader. So that is what the message I like to give, because you people have that potential in you. You have that in you. That is why the message is, I want you people to be leaders in your own domain. Now you think how you will achieve that position. My compliments to all of you. And Devra, you just send a small note of all the accomplishments of your group in terms of research projects, facilities you have developed. Because I want to send a report to Founder President, Chancellor, and also your Vice Chancellor, and it will also be there in our ASTIF, the database. All your publications, send that once again. The complete publications last 2 years. 2018, 19, 19, 20, and 20 so far. So these about 2.5 years. The total publications in the list, author's name, the title of the paper, and all that. Huh?
Yes, sir.
In that normal format. You might have given, but you said it again because I want to include it as a good, strong report, and also give us a copy of this presentation because we want to pick up whenever there is any presentation from ASTIF on environmental related. So we want to show that AUH is doing this. So send us not all the slides. All the slides you can keep it for record. You tell us which one is the most important one. We will pick that from there and include in my presentation whenever we are making to foreign delegation when it comes on sustainability. So we can show Amit University Haryana Devra is doing this work. So this type of, so please send a complete the presentation also. So best wishes, Singh sir, you want to say anything? Mr. Yasan Singh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, only thing I would like to tell is that the generation of data, its analysis and collection, etc., all is important, but it must lead to prognostic role. And rightly you have suggested that a leadership role has to be assumed in this area. And now that we have got a cost at Amit University Jaipur also, there must be close collaboration between the two laboratories.
I think you build this kind of connectivity, we must build things up. The cluster concept, we should start something on in this area also, cluster. And then also in Chhattisgarh also we have somebody working on atmospheric parameters. How does it influence the data transmission from satellites to ground station? The troposphere, stratosphere, how it will influence the changes there, ionic changes there. And they are not working on pollution, but that certainly the pollution is one of the factors which will interfere with the data transmission and reception. Good. So all the best. Thank you very much, and thanks for your time. I enjoyed talking to you. And God bless.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much, sir.
time.
These people are doing wonderful job. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Singh sir, for joining.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.